Okay, and so we welcome you back to day 2 of the 3.3 unit circle and circular functions. But today it's just more on radians, and we're going to play with the calculator on these. So remember to change your calculator to radian mode at this point. You'll have to pay attention to the problem to determine if you need radian or degree mode. Because if there's a degree symbol, you're going to want to be in degree mode. If there's not, then. Okay, so they're asking you for the sine of 82.8203. So you're going to type it in just like that. So the sine button. Okay, I thought I had a pen ready started for us. Guess not. Okay, so the sine, you type it in exactly like this. So I don't need to write it because it's being typed in exactly the way that we did. When you throw this into the calculator, 0.8203, you get 0.7313, and it goes on 504632. Okay, sine, cosine, and tangent is going to be the easy one. It's when you get cosecant. Now remember, cosecant is the reciprocal of sine, but I'm just looking for the value of cosecant. This is the angle. I want the sine value. So what you can do this one of two ways. You can put it in the calculator as 1 over sine. Angle doesn't change. Doesn't matter what we're doing. It's angle is still the angle. Or you can type it in as sine of 1.3875, close both parentheses, and then put that -1 symbol on there. Either way, your answer should be 1.017037,195. Sine cosine should always be between -1 and 1. Secant and cosecant will always be outside that range. So that's one of the ways to know that you got something right. If you put this in and got a number smaller than 1, then you did it wrong. Oh, that's all they have on this page. Okay, so and then the other thing that they're going to ask you to do, find the exact value of sine in the given interval that has the given circular function value. Do not use a calculator. So we're going back to using, but at this point they're asking you for the angle. They're asking for theta. Okay, where before they were asking you for the sine, cosine, or whatever values. So if I was to draw my grid, this is pi over 2, this is pi, and I want my cosine, I want the angle whose cosine is -1/2. That's what they're asking you. And at the same time, in quadrant 2. So you can look at your chart, or you can look at the unit circle. Look at the unit circle, you can get it very fast. You just find your cosine value that's -1/2 in quadrant 2. Or you can look at your chart and find cosine at 1/2 is going to be pi over 3, but that's in quadrant 1. And then in quadrant 2, it's going to be 2 pi over 3. And there's your answer. They're very specific of where they wanted you to find that angle. Okay, the next one. So I'm going to draw the grid again so I get the picture of where they're telling me to look. 3 pi over 2 and 2 pi. Well, this is 2 pi, and this is 3 pi over 2. So I'm in quadrant 4. Okay, and it's an angle whose tangent is -1. So you can, now remember, tangent is sine over cosine. And if we get 1, then it has to be one that has both the same values. So that might lead you straight to it, or you can use your chart and go, okay, tangent 1 is going to be a pi over 4. The question is, which pi over 4? This is 1, 2, we're doing 45 degree angles, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 pi over 4. The unit circle is going to get you there a lot faster. If you're not using the unit circle, you can get the pi over 4 part, but then you have to figure out which angle it is. And you're going to end up going back to the unit circle anyways. Okay, so then they're taking us back to the calculators again, finding a number given its circular function value. To find s given the circular function value in the quadrant, we must use the inverse cosine function on our calculators. To access these buttons, we must press second, then sine, cosine, or tangent. Second, sine, cosine, tangent. Be very, very careful if you got secant, cosecant, or cotangent. Okay, there's nothing else on that page. So they're giving you just two examples. Find the value of s in the interval of 0 to pi over 2, so in the quadrant 1. That's quadrant 1. That makes these statements true. So remember, this is the ones where you go, okay, so it's arc cosine of the cosine of s equals the arc cosine of 0.7826. This here cancels each other out because they're inverse functions, and you're left with s equals the arc cosine of 0.7826. Notice it's less than 1. That's okay for cosine. And you're going to plug this into the calculator exactly like that. So you're going to do second cosine. Make sure your calculator's in radian mode. And then 0.7826. And that should give you back 0.671964.865. Now usually you'll be told to round something down. If you're not told, just throw all the values on there. And don't be worried about going, oh, this is kind of it's all right. We're in quadrant 1, which means it's less than 90 degrees. If you change this to radian mode and put it in, you'd probably find yourself around probably a 30-degree angle-ish. And because remember, 1 radian is 57 degrees, and we're less than 1. All right, now cosecant. These are the ones to be careful with. The reciprocal is sine. Now this is a trig value. I need you guys to make sure that you get the difference. The angle here, if this is right here with the cosecant, this is the angle, this is the value. So we really want arc cosecant of the cosecant of s, which would equal the arc cosecant of 1.0219. These two cancel out, and we're left with s equals the arc cosecant of 1.0219. Now here's our problem. This guy is larger than 1, so I can't just type it in as sine, because this is a trig value. So we're going to do the reciprocal on both of these. Now this is where I need to point out, if you have the trig value, you're going to do the reciprocal on both. If you're giving the angle and you just want to find the trig value, you flip it over afterwards. So this is cosecant, so I'm going to flip it over to sine. So it's going to be arc sine 1.0219, but I need this value flipped, so I'm going to flip them over. Or you can write it in there as arc sine of 1 over 1.0219. Because at this point we've done the reciprocal of both. And there you have it. We'll play with some more of these in class to make sure that you guys are getting these down. Okay, and that is the end of part 2. This was a very short video, but I did want to separate these two things out. Have a good evening.